Hadīth 1. Narrated Al-Qasim, Aisha said, we set out with the sole intention of performing Hajj, and when we reached Ṣaḥīḥ, a place 6 miles from Mecca, I got my menses. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, came to me while I was weeping. He said, "What is the matter with you? Have you got your menses?" I replied, "Yes." He said, "This is a thing which Allah has ordained for the daughters of Adam. So do what all the pilgrims do, with the exception of the tawaf, circumambulation, round the Kaaba." Aisha added, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, sacrificed cows on behalf of his wives. Hadīth 2. Narrated Aisha, while in menses, I used to comb the hair of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. Hadīth 3. Narrated Urwa, a person asked me, "Can a woman in menses serve me? And can a junub woman come close to me?" I replied, "All this is easy for me. All of them can serve me, and there is no harm for any other person to do the same." Aisha told me that she used to comb the hair of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, while she was in her menses, and he was in i'tikaf, in the mosque. He would bring his head near her in her room and she would comb his hair, while she used to be in her menses. Hadīth 4. Narrated Aisha, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, used to lean on my lap and recite Qur'an while I was in menses. Hadīth 5. Narrated Salama, while I was laying with the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, under a single woolen sheet, I got the menses. I slipped away and put on the clothes for menses. He said, "Have you got Nifas, menses?" I replied, "Yes." He then called me and made me lie with him under the same sheet. Hadīth 6. Narrated Aisha, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and I used to take a bath from a single pot while we were junub. During the menses, he used to order me to put on an izar, dress worn below the waist, and used to fondle me. While in i'tikaf, he used to bring his head near me and I would wash it, while I used to be in my periods, menses. Hadīth 7. Narrated Abdur-Rahman bin al-Aswad, on the authority of his father, Aisha said, whenever Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, wanted to fondle any one of us during her periods, menses, he used to order her to put on an izar and start fondling her. Aisha added, none of you could control his sexual desires as the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, could. Hadīth 8. Narrated Maymuna, whenever Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, wanted to fondle any of his wives during the periods, menses, he used to ask her to wear an izar. Hadīth 9. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, once Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, went out to the Musalla, to offer the prayer, of Eid al-Adha or al-Fitr prayer. Then he passed by the women and said, "O women! Give alms, as I have seen that the majority of the dwellers of hellfire were you, women." They asked, "Why is it so, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him?" He replied, "You curse frequently and are ungrateful to your husbands. I have not seen anyone more deficient in intelligence and religion than you. A cautious sensible man could be led astray by some of you." The women asked, "O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. What is deficient in our intelligence and religion?" He said, "Is not the evidence of 2 women equal to the witness of 1 man?" They replied in the affirmative. He said, "This is the deficiency in her intelligence. Isn't it true that a woman can neither pray nor fast during her menses?" The women replied in the affirmative. He said, "This is the deficiency in her religion." Hadīth 10. Narrated Aisha, we set out with the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, for Hajj, and when we reached Ṣaḥīḥ, I got my menses. When the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, came to me, I was weeping. He asked, "Why are you weeping?" I said, "I wish if I had not performed Hajj this year." He asked, "May be that you got your menses?" I replied, "Yes." He then said, "This is the thing which Allah has ordained for all the daughters of Adam. So do what all the pilgrims do, except that you do not perform the tawaf round the Kaaba till you are clean." Hadith 11. Narrated Aisha, Fatimah bint Abi Hubaysh said to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. I do not become clean from bleeding. Shall I give up my prayers? Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, replied, No, because it is from a blood vessel, and not the menses. So when the real menses begins, give up your prayers, and when it, the period, has finished, wash the blood off your body, take a bath, and offer your prayers. Hadith 12. Narrated Asma bint Abi Bakr, a woman asked Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. What should we do, if the blood of menses falls on our clothes? Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, replied, if the blood of menses falls on the garment of any one of you, she must take hold of the blood spot, rub it, and wash it with water and then pray with it. Hadith 13. Narrated Aisha, whenever any one of us got her menses, she, on becoming clean, used to take hold of the blood spot and rub the blood off her garment, and pour water over it and wash that portion thoroughly, and sprinkle water over the rest of the garment. After that she would pray with it. Hadith 14. Narrated Aisha, once one of the wives of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, did i'tikaf along with him, and she was getting bleeding in between her periods. She used to see the blood, from her private parts, and she would perhaps put a dish under her for the blood. The sub-narrator Ikrimah added, Aisha once saw the liquid of safflower and said, it looks like what so-and-so used to have. Hadith 15. Narrated Aisha, one of the wives of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, joined him in i'tikaf, and she noticed blood and yellowish discharge, from her private parts, and put a dish under her when she prayed. Hadith 16. Narrated Aisha, one of the mothers of the faithful believers, that is, the wives of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, did i'tikaf while she was having bleeding in between her periods. Hadith 17. Narrated Aisha, none of us had more than a single garment and we used to have our menses while wearing it. Whenever it got soiled with blood of menses, we used to apply saliva to the blood spot and rub off the blood with our nails. Hadith 18. Narrated Atiyah, we were forbidden to mourn for a dead person for more than 3 days, except in the case of a husband for whom mourning was allowed for 4 months and 10 days. During that time we were not allowed to put kohol, antimony eye powder, in our eyes, or to use perfumes, or to put on colored clothes, except a dress made of usab, a kind of Yemen cloth, very coarse and rough. We were allowed very light perfumes at the time of taking a bath after menses, and also we were forbidden to go with the funeral procession. Hadith 19. Narrated Aisha, a woman asked the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, about the bath which is taken after finishing from the menses. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, told her what to do and said, purify yourself with a piece of cloth scented with musk. The woman asked, how shall I purify myself with it? He said, Subhanallah. Purify yourself with it. I pulled her to myself and said, rub the place soiled with blood with it. Hadith 20. Narrated Aisha, an Ansari woman asked the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, how to take a bath after finishing from the menses. He replied, take a piece of cloth perfumed with musk and clean the private parts with it thrice. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, felt shy and turned his face. So I pulled her to me and told her what the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, meant. Hadith 21. Narrated Aisha, in the last Hajj of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, I assumed the Ihram for Hajj along with Allah's Apostle. I was one of those who intended tamattu'a, to perform Hajj and Umrah, and did not take the hadi, animal for sacrifice, with me. I got my menses and was not clean till the night of Arafah. I said, O Allah's Apostle, it is the night of the day of Arafat, and I intended to perform the Hajj tamattu'a with Umrah. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, told me to undo my hair and comb it and to postpone the Umrah. I did the same and completed the Hajj. On the night of Al-Husba, that is, place outside Mecca where the pilgrims go after finishing all the ceremonies of Hajj at Mina, he, the Prophet, ordered Abdurrahman, Aisha's brother, to take me to At-Tanim to assume the Ihram for Umrah, in lieu of that of Hajj at-Tamattu'a which I had intended to perform. Hadīth 22. Narrated Aisha, on the 1st of Dhul Hijjah we set out with the intention of performing Hajj. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, anyone who likes to assume the Ihram for Umrah he can do so. Had I not brought the Hadi with me, I would have assumed the Ihram for Umrah. Some of us assumed the Ihram for Umrah, while the others assumed the Ihram for Hajj. I was one of those who assumed the Ihram for Umrah. I got menses and kept on menstruating until the day of Arafat, and complained of that to the Prophet. He told me to postpone my Umrah, undo and comb my hair, and to assume the Ihram of Hajj, and I did so. On the night of Husba, he sent my brother Abdurrahman bin Abi Bakr with me to At-Tanim, where I assumed the Ihram for Umrah in lieu of the previous one. Hisham said, for that, Umrah, no Hadi, fasting or alms were required. Hadīth 23. Narrated Anas bin Malik, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, at every womb Allah appoints an angel who says, O Lord. A drop of semen, O Lord. A clot. O Lord. A little lump of flesh. Then if Allah wishes, to complete its creation, the angel asks, O Lord. Will it be a male or female, a wretched or a blessed, and how much will his provision be? And what will his age be? So all that is written while the child is still in the mother's womb. Hadīth 24. Narrated Urwa, Aisha said, we set out with the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, in his last Hajj. Some of us intended to perform Umrah, while others Hajj. When we reached Mecca, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, those who had assumed the Ihram for Umrah and had not brought the Hadi should finish his Ihram, and whoever had assumed the Ihram for Umrah and brought the Hadi should not finish the Ihram till he has slaughtered his Hadi, and whoever had assumed the Ihram for Hajj should complete his Hajj. Aisha further said, I got my periods, menses, and kept on menstruating till the day of Arafat, and I had assumed the Ihram for Umrah only, tamattu'a. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, ordered me to undo and comb my head hair and assume the Ihram for Hajj only and leave the Umrah. I did the same till I completed the Hajj. Then, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, sent Abdurrahman bin Abi Bakr with me, and ordered me to perform Umrah from At-Tanim in lieu of the missed Umrah. Hadīth 25. Narrated Aisha, Fatimah bint Abi Hubaysh used to have bleeding in between the periods, so she asked the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, about it. He replied, the bleeding is from a blood vessel and not the menses. So give up the prayers when the real menses begins, and when it has finished, take a bath and start praying. Hadīth 26. Narrated Mu'adha, a woman asked Aisha, should I offer the prayers that which I did not offer because of menses? Aisha said, are you from the Hurara, a town in Iraq? We were with the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and used to get our periods, but he never ordered us to offer them, the prayers missed during menses. Aisha perhaps said, we did not offer them. Hadīth 27. Narrated Zainab bint Abi Salama, Salama said, I got my menses while I was lying with the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, under a woolen sheet. So I slipped away, took the clothes for menses and put them on. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, have you got your menses? I replied, yes. Then he called me and took me with him under the woolen sheet. Salama further said, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, used to kiss me while he was fasting. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and I used to take the bath of janaba from a single pot. Hadith 28. Narrated Salama, while I was lying with the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, under a woolen sheet, I got my menses. I slipped away and put on the clothes for menses. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Have you got your menses?" I replied, "Yes." He called me, and I slept with him under the woolen sheet. Hadith 29. Narrated Ayyub, Hafsa said, "We used to forbid our young women to go out for the 2 Eid prayers. A woman came and stayed at the palace of Bani Khalaf, and she narrated about her sister whose husband took part in 12 holy battles along with the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and her sister was with her husband in 6 out of these 12. She, the woman's sister, said, "We used to treat the wounded, look after the patients, and once I asked the Prophet, is there any harm for any of us to stay at home, if she doesn't have a veil?" He said, she should cover herself with the veil of her companion, and should participate in the good deeds and in the religious gathering of the Muslims. When Umm came, I asked her whether she had heard it from the Prophet. She replied, "Yes. May my father be sacrificed for him, the Prophet." Whenever she mentioned the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, she used to say, "May my father be sacrificed for him." I have heard the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, "The unmarried young virgins and the mature girl who stay often screened, or the young unmarried virgins who often stay screened, and the menstruating women, should come out and participate in the good deeds as well as the religious gathering of the faithful believers, but the menstruating women should keep away from the musalla, praying place." Hafsa asked surprisingly, "Do you say the menstruating women?" She replied, "Doesn't a menstruating woman attend Arafat, Hajj, and such other deeds?" Hadith 30. Narrated Aisha, Fatimah bint Abi Hubaysh asked the Prophet, "I got persistent bleeding, in between the periods, and do not become clean. Shall I give up prayers?" He replied, "No, this is from a blood vessel. Give up the prayers only for the days on which you usually get the menses, and then take a bath and offer your prayers." Hadith 31. Narrated Atiyah, we never considered yellowish discharge as a thing of importance, as menses. Hadith 32. Narrated Aisha, the wife of the Prophet, Habiba got bleeding in between the periods for 7 years. She asked Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, about it. He ordered her to take a bath, after the termination of actual periods, and added that it was from a blood vessel. So she used to take a bath for every prayer. Hadith 33. Narrated Aisha, the wife of the Prophet, I told Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, that Safiyyah bint Huyai had got her menses. He said, "She will probably delay us. Did she perform Tawaf-al-Ifada with you?" We replied, "Yes." On that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, told her to depart. Hadith 34. Narrated Ibn Abbas, a woman is allowed to leave, go back home, if she gets menses, after Tawaf-al-Ifada. Ibn Umar formerly used to say that she should not leave, but later on I heard him saying, she may leave, since Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, gave them the permission to leave, after Tawaf-al-Ifada. Hadith 35. Narrated Aisha, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said to me, give up the prayer when your menses begin, and when it has finished, wash the blood off your body, take a bath, and start praying. Hadith 36. Narrated Samura bin Jundub, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, offered the funeral prayer for the dead body of a woman who died during delivery, that is, childbirth, and he stood by the middle of her body. Hadith 37. Narrated Maymuna, the wife of the Prophet, during my menses, I never prayed, but used to sit on the mat beside the mosque of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. He used to offer the prayer on his sheet, and in prostration some of his clothes used to touch me.